and welcome back to Beach Hour. Now today with me I have a very special car, which is the BMW 530i. Now this, as you can see, is the LCI, which is a fancy term used by BMW to call their midlife facelift cars. I'm really excited about this car to find out how it is and how it feels to drive. I'm going to take you along with me on the experience of this car over the next 3 days that I have it with me. So I'm going to tell you about the car and the rest of the stuff as we go along throughout the way, and in the end I will hopefully be able to summarize it all for you to give you a better idea. So time to get in the car and head out back to Pune. Okay, so before we move, by the way, nice soft door close. Before we move, I would like to set up the car. I would like to set up my phone so that I'm not fiddling around while I'm driving. This car of course has both options. You can connect it to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto via USB, or you can do it via wirelessly as well. And the good part is that unlike some cars nowadays, this has both the options for a USB-C as well as the old school USB-A port as well. I have a USB-A cable, no problems. I've already connected, and it's saying app not installed. I will ignore that. Any time today. It says Bluetooth connection is required. Bluetooth connection is on. So I don't know what it's talking about. Oh, there it is. There's my device. Bluetooth connection failed. Okay, let me browse and scroll through the lovely iDrive system, which I still believe is one of the most efficient way of navigating through a car's infotainment, especially in the top 3 German brands. I think this is the most intuitive even still. So now we have our CarPlay. I'm going to quickly put my destination, which is back to Pune. The sound insulation in here, as expected, is great. I feel that I am actually driving a car which is in motion where the engine is not even on. It's that nice. Of course, that will all change later on when we go into sport mode. Now currently the mode I am on is comfort, and in comfort, when I press the throttle, there's a slight delay in the acceleration, there's a slight delay in the response, which is obvious. Speed breaker number 2 coming up. I'm still going to go straight over it. No problem, cleared it out. So it looks like most of the speed breakers that we are going to encounter are going to be crossed without much drama. Man, this car feels so good. It feels so comfortable over here on the inside. It feels really, really well put together. It doesn't have, obviously, from a BMW, wouldn't expect squeaks and rattles and stuff like that. Car feels really good. Car feels very, very refined. That engine is absolutely silent when you're not trying to play around with it. When you're just trying to cruise along, it's great. Also, this is pretty annoying to me. This gesture control, people go gaga over it, but I feel that it's just a gimmick. And every time I'm talking and interacting either with the camera, with my hand movements, or if I'm talking with somebody who's there in the co-driver seat, it's just going to keep binging and bonging and, you know, just keep annoying every 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure you can turn it off. So I'm going to try doing that. So this is the challenge which I wanted to take for a very long time from a big car. I'm over here at McDonald's in Panvel. I'm going through the drive-through, and this is a very, very, very tight spot. So I always used to wonder if like a large car can fit through. This one does, no problems. So okay, this is the tricky one. This is quite a tricky and tight curve. I don't want to curve the car anywhere. It's cool. It's close. It is close. Not really. We have space. I will try taking some help from the 360-degree cameras. Okay, so I see there is enough space over here in front of me. I open the door and I see that there is enough space over here behind me as well. So I think we are a little safe. It is tight. It's tight at the front. It is. Let me check at the back. We've got decent amount of space. I can turn it a little bit more on the inside. All right, we are through. So that is good for 2 reasons. One, I have gone through, and second, I can place an order. Now, like most modern set of BMWs, even this comes with 3 modes. It has the Eco Pro, the Comfort, and the Sport. Till now, I was driving on Comfort, and in Comfort, the car is really, really quiet. The car is very comfortable. The steering becomes very light. The suspensions are in that settings where they are basically sort of cocooning you from all sort of bad patches on the road, sharp edges, bumps and everything. And I would say to 80 to 90% of the times they are successful in not letting you get unsettled in the car, or the car suspensions or the body getting very jittery. And now what I'm trying to try out is the Eco Pro mode. In the Eco Pro mode, obviously the throttle response is very dull. It expects you to have that kind of throttle response, because then the car, the engine and its settings can focus purely on driving the maximum efficiency, so that it makes sure that the amount of fuel you have, which is not these days remaining in your fuel tank, is extended as much as possible. Now in that terms, also what it does is it tries to turn off the engine. Whenever it sees that you are coasting, it turns the engine off completely, cuts the engine out, and with that you can basically sort of cruise and just go along with spending the least amount of fuel. It's not a very interesting mode though, so let's at least for now get back to comfort. Alright, so now that we are on standstill, I'm going to try a quick pull, but before that I need to drink a little bit of this coffee because I'm afraid that it might spill out from the glass. Now that I've reduced the level of the coffee and I am no more so afraid that it will spill, I'm going to put the car on sport. What that will do is stiffen up the suspensions, sharpen the throttle response and make the gearbox a lot more aggressive. Alright, so let's do it. Fast. Really fast. Okay. Not as exciting as I was expecting it to be, but of course this is a 5 series, it's not a 3. The 3 series, what I've realized with the same engine, is a lot more aggressive. It's tuned a lot more aggressive in every sense, in specifically in the way the gearbox handles the upshifts and the downshifts. It's a lot more aggressive. This being a mid-size executive sedan, it's a lot more tamed, it's a lot more subtle. That said though, it was still fast. We did some unspeakable speeds in a very short amount of time. It's not big of a surprise, but I was not expecting it to sound very glorious, and it didn't, because the current generation is no more a straight 6. We've unfortunately lost the naturally aspirated straight 6 engine, and instead what we have is a 4-cylinder. That said though, don't get me wrong, it's still powerful, it's still mighty fun and mighty fast, but that feeling is kind of missing of what you can expect from a straight 6 naturally aspirated car. Well, another day, and today we are at some twisty roads. Now, whatever I said before about this car continues to remain true. It's still incredibly comfortable after 2 days of driving it around city, around traffic, on the highways. But today is a little different because I am on a nice twisty section of road right now. And here is where I will put the car in sport mode to see how it performs when you give it some corners. First thing that you realize is there is a little lack of sound. It does feel a little silent, unfortunately, compared to the earlier BMW engines, which used to be naturally aspirated straight 6. Like for example, the E90 325i that I have sounds much more raunchier. It sounds much more aggressive. This sounds quite tamed down, but that in itself is not enough or the whole story, because in general the 5 series is a lot more tamed down compared to the 3 for everything, including the suspension setup, for the aggressiveness of the gearbox. That said though, there is quite a good amount of poke in sport mode. Especially the car just very quickly responds to throttle inputs, does downshifts quite fast. It's not very aggressive, it still is very comfortable, but it downshifts quite a lot faster. Also, the suspensions aren't that stiff. They still are set up in a way where you will get good enough comfort when you're even thrashing the car around, while at the same time not experience a lot of body roll. But whatever said and done, the way you can point this car into corners, just absolutely incredible. I mean, it sticks and it holds its line, and it feels so precise that wherever you're pointing it at, whatever direction you're pointing it at, it just flows and it just goes into that line. On bad bumpy roads like this, the suspensions are still comfortable. They don't throw you around, they don't become excessively stiff. where you become really uncomfortable. It's not that. The suspensions are still quite pliant, too bad in bumpy roads, even on sport mode. But the highlight for me driving this car is how well you can place it in the corner and how well you can flow through it, you know. It just feels so light-footed, it feels so sure-footed. It just turns into a fun experience where you know exactly what the car is doing. The chassis itself is so sorted, it's so well balanced that it's keeping me comfortable over these slightly bad roads, but at the same time it's holding its ground like nothing else. Seriously, the only thing which I miss in this car is the sound. The engine itself is pretty good. The chassis, the suspensions, the steering, while not perfect, they're absolutely great. And while driving it fast, this feels like the kind of car that wants to be pushed. It wants to be given a little extra boot so it can give you that extra bit of fun, that extra bit of performance when you're actually hammering it out on an open road like this. So now that my time is almost about to get over with this car, I want to quickly summarize how the last 2-3 days with it has been. To be honest, they've been absolutely fantastic. This is a great car. It's the kind of car that can give you both sort of pleasures, where it can give you a lot of luxury, a lot of comfort and a lot of refinement, while at the same time when you're actually looking to hone it out a little bit, when you're actually looking to get some performance out of it and go fast, it's going to give you that excitement along with it as well. It's a typical 5 Series experience where you have luxury, comfort, at the same time driving pleasure. This is still the ultimate driving machine. Although the only thing that I miss, that it falls a little short on, is that engine sound. The engine performs great, it's just the sound feels a little underwhelming. That said though, I have been thinking this car is a little specific for the kind of person you are and what you want from your car. Because this car costs approximately 64 lakhs. Now the pricing is great, especially if you are someone who's looking for a large mid-size sedan with lots of space, comfort, luxury, as well as decent good performance. But at the same time, if you're someone like me who gets more excited by the engine, by the chassis, and by overall how well a car can perform at its best, then probably you'd want to put another 5 to 6 lakh rupees on top and instead get the M340i, because that still has the straight 6, although it's turbocharged. It does have the straight 6, lot more power, and it's going to be a lot more fun to drive compared to this. But if you're the kind of person who's wanting to travel their family in comfort while at the same time over the weekend, you know, take this car out for a drive, then the 530i is a great car. Also, if you're a kind of person who enjoys diesels, then the 530d, although which is 10 lakh rupees more, is going to be an absolutely amazing car as well, because it's got more power than this and still has a straight 6 diesel. What do you think? What is going to be your choice out of all these 3 cars? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Till then, ciao.